What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down how to win versus off-man coverage. So we're going to talk about how wide receivers can beat a DB who's an off-man 5 to 7 yards off when you got inside breaking routes, outside breaking routes, and double move routes. Okay, so I hope this video gives you guys some value on how you can approach this situation when you guys are up against this situation. But also, fellas, if you guys want an ultimate wide receiver training package where we break down everything wide receivers should do in the gym, it's a full 28-day program for wide receivers in the gym and our wide receiver training Bible, right? So what it is, all the technical aspects of the wide receiver position, check out that very first link in the description. It is offered at a discounted price right now, so I hope we get you guys on that soon. Again, gym program and technique manual. Hope we get you guys on that. Let's get started. So first things first, here we're going to be talking about how we want to make this DB kind of sit fade when I have like an inside breaking route, like a dig or a post when he is inside shade. So there's a couple different ways that you could approach this, right? But the one thing that remains consistent is you want to close the distance, right? You want to try to quote unquote step on his toes, right? But now everybody loves to say, oh, well, coach, what if he doesn't move, right? You got to make this dude move. That's the mindset that you need to have as a receiver. You can't be thinking, oh, well, what if he sits there? Well, because then you're thinking too much, right? You want to make this guy think that you're trying to just run right by him, trying to attack his outside shoulder, get his hips to turn so I can slip back underneath. Plain and simple, that's pretty much how we do it. Now, there's a lot of different technical points that go into that. There are a lot of different ways that you can do that. But now, when we watch this receiver come off the line right here, you see how he kind of takes an outside stem, then he kind of angles it back to the inside and squares this DB up, a little bit of a tempo change, then he bursts to the outside, right? Now, that little quick burst right there is everything that gets this DB to overcommit, right? Because what we want to make this DB think is that I'm attacking his leverage like I would on maybe if I have a speed out route or like a corner route or like maybe just like a straight up like kind of like outside breaking, like stop route, whatever it is, right? We want to make him think that I'm trying to square him up, give him a move, and then burst back to the outside, right? So that's what we want to do. Anytime this DB is an inside shade, we always want to angle our stem somewhat at him and then maybe push back out vertical. And we're going to take a look at a couple different looks of that, right? But it's very important that you close the distance. Like I said, you don't want to be making this move right about here where this DB has space to react, right? Obviously, if the depth of the route, if the depth is like a 5-yard in, yes, you would want to break this thing off at 5 yards, but still get to the depth, still focus on closing the distance. Now, this receiver decides to go with the tempo change like I was talking about. So when I have that tempo change, it kind of slows the DB's roll. And then when I'm able to go from 0 to 100 and really throw my body to the outside, pushing off this inside leg, selling like I got a corner route, like I got an out route, that's going to make him overcommit. That's going to make him overreact because I slowed him down. I slowed that tempo, got his feet to kind of slow down. Then I burst it up. That forces that reaction because he does not want to get slowed down and tempoed and then beat to the outside where he's supposed to try to force you because, again, he's got all this space out here. So you want to attack him. You want to threaten him to that zone. And then you see what happens. We get this DB to turn. We get him to overcommit. And then when we get this DB here where he's speed turning, that's when I can win this route. So I got to make sure that I don't lose the separation that I created at this point. A lot of receivers will get a DB to do this, then they'll start jogging, right? It's really important when I get a DB to turn his hips like this, I pump those arms, I accelerate out, and I burst to the middle of the field. So watch the thing again, full speed one more time. Great job tempoing this guy. 1, 2, throw him to the outside, then run this thing off on this dig or a post route. All right, guys, so now the next clip we're going to be looking at is going to be off of Rondale Moore. He's got a comeback route against this inside shade off-man DB, right? So now, comeback route's kind of unique, right? Because this is one where you really want to sell vertical, and it's kind of hard to do sometimes when this DB's maybe sitting at 10 yards when your depth is maybe like 12. Maybe it's like 12 back to 10-yard comeback, right? I forgot how deep this was, but let's watch it full speed, then we'll talk about how deep it is. So 5, 10, yeah, about 12 back to 10 comeback, right? So now, that's kind of hard, right, when this DB's sitting at about like 8 yards, right? When this DB's sitting at about 8 and you got a 12 back to 10 comeback or 10 back to 8 comeback, it's kind of tough to get him to sell vertical. So what do you think you want to do? First thing off the line of scrimmage, you want to close the distance with this guy, right? You want to attack him. You want to not necessarily square him up, right? Because you don't want to angle so far off the line, square him up, and then get him to weave to the inside. Then you got to make this break, and you're running a comeback all the way to the sideline, and you giving him all this space to work, right? Especially from the outside. If you're maybe from like your splits cut down a little bit more, maybe you're the single side receiver, maybe that would be the case on like a speed out where something you could actually run towards the sideline, not so much a comeback where you're running at a 45 kind of coming back downhill because that gives him space to react or that gives him space to work. On like a speed out or a corner, yes, you would want to really square him up. You'd want to attack his midline. Hopefully we get him to move off that line. This is a different case because we're hoping that he turns his hips and runs with us, right? So Moore does a great job of coming off fast, no indicators, and now what we call this is a vertical set where it's like you give this little head fake to the inside, maybe get this DB to sit a little bit, then you push back up vertical because good DB, a smart DB knows that how we run a fade when we're against off-man coverage is you try to close the distance with him the best you can. You really sell sell vertical and you give him move to the inside, then you try to get him to jump to the inside and you slip back to the outside. So maybe that's something that you work when you're backside on this play. Maybe you're backside on the route, you're constantly going off the line, you give that move, you slip to the outside, even when you're not getting the ball. Maybe your job is just to run this guy off, right? So that's what you got to make sure that you make all your routes look the same, right? Everything's a setup, everything's got to look similar. So when we give this fake to the inside, maybe get this DB to hesitate a little bit, then I burst up to the outside. You see how much of a speed change he has. That's what I'm talking about when I'm saying make the DB turn his hips. You want to make him do it. You want to immediately come off the line. You see when he comes off, he's got speed. He's fast. His eyes are forward. He's not looking at the ground. What are you looking at the ground for? There's nothing down there, right? Eyes are straight forward, pumping those arms, staying in stride, getting him to bail out of there, getting him to backpedal. Then I can snap this thing off, snap, and you see how he gets into this break, explosive position. DB turned his hip, snap, pivot, hook, and DB's not in a bad spot. DB's not, it's not like we beat this guy by 8 yards, but that's enough separation when he's sitting at 8 to 10 and your route is breaking at 10. So let's close the distance, be fast, quote unquote, step on those toes, give him that vertical set, get his hips to turn out of there, and then break this thing off. So that's another way you can run a comeback route against like inside shade off man leverage. Now, a lot of people ask too, I just want to address this before we get to the next clip here and we talk about kind of a double move route with Elijah Moore. I want to talk about that. Why wouldn't you just run to the outside and break this thing off? Why would you even give him a move to the inside and go? Because if I don't give him that move to the inside and I just run to the outside, all he's going to do is just roll with me, get hands onto me, and I'm going to be running this comeback with maybe a yard to the sideline. If I got all this space to work and I just try to take it and run away from him, he's going to be sitting right on my inside hip. If I don't give him that move to the inside, he doesn't commit and he doesn't think vertical. He doesn't think vertical set. He doesn't think that I'm just trying to run right by him and use my speed to beat him over the top. He thinks that I'm just going to be running a comeback. Nobody's going to, and if he does, let's say I do run a fade and I keep it outside wide and he reroutes me all the way to the sideline, that's an impossible throw for the quarterback. The sideline is his help. He does not have any help to the inside. The sideline is his help. So it's very important that you make sure that you don't just take it and get rerouted and make this throw impossible for the quarterback. Let's watch it again full speed one more time. So he gets a move to the inside, pushes up vertical, snaps this thing off. Great job by Moore. If he would have maybe pushed up vertical another step, that would have really gotten him a lot of separation. But again, you got to break this thing off where the depth of the route requires. Do not make it a little bit deeper when the quarterback expects you to be at 12 back to 10. Don't make it 15 back to 12. That's too deep of a route and that throws off timing of the play, okay? So now let's talk about this double move right here from Moore. So when we're in this off man situation, especially on the goal line when you got to run a double move, maybe you're weaving your stem, whatever it is, your body language is super important to get you some separation. So we talk about this on a lot of different things, and we talk about this with like a whip route. Like we talk about this with a lot of different things, right? So when we're coming off here and we make this break, this is like a stick nod route. You see when Moore makes this break, especially an off man, where should that DB's eyes be, right? That's what you want to be thinking as a receiver. Anytime you got to make a move, rocker step, single cut, where should his eyes be? His eyes should be on those hips, right? So when his eyes are on those hips, like how he is right now, that's when you got to make sure that on a double move, single move, whatever it is, you got to sell with your actual body. You got to sell with your hips. So you see when he breaks off here and he takes 3 steps, what does he do? His hips and his shoulders are all committed to this break, right? Yeah, it's one thing giving your eyes, like maybe you got to run it out and up, post corner, corner post, whatever it is. Yeah, it's one thing giving your eyes, it's one thing running there, but if you could commit your body to it and actually run and be able to pop that cutoff and be sudden, that's going to get you some separation. That's why you work all those like cone, like zigzag, 90-degree cut drills where you're only taking like 3 steps. Like, for example, let's say you got cones set up like 5 cones at like a 45-degree angle, almost like a zigzag pattern, and you're taking 3 steps in and out of each cone, making that break. That's why it's important to get your hips and shoulders angled at those cones for this specific reason. So you get used to that change of direction. Receivers need to have that great change of direction while their hips and shoulders are committed on a break, right? And that's what could get you some separation because, again, that's what that DB's watching. So make sure that in off man, you guys understand that that DB is looking at hips. That DB is not watching your eyes. He shouldn't be looking at your eyes, but you do want to be selling with your eyes. You do want to have speed to the break, but hips and shoulders need to commit to every single break that you throw, every single move that you throw. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. So breaks 1, 2, 3, hips and shoulders there, then make sure we accelerate up on this route. All right, guys, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys got any questions at all, please leave those in the comments below. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And if you guys also want our wide receiver training package at a discounted price, full wide receiver gym training program, and our wide receiver technique Bible, hope we get you guys on that soon. Very first link in the description. I'll see you guys next time.